The fact that like the sword echo like falls down, that's insane.
Can you keep up?
And also we're eating good with this. Holy shit. That's it. Like, you know, if I use Kantara like Carlotta, it's like so easy. Mainly like, you know, because she's built and she's C6, so obviously I expected like something like this. But I think what I like about this game is that like you can, you know, you have characters that like couple of patches, like, you know, like Jinxie came out at like 1.1 and we're like at like 2.2 already, and she's still relevant even though like when in S6 her. So it's like about like a good and a bad thing, I guess. Like like constellations for characters in games like this, it's kind of a proof of like both that the game is pay to win. You know, you can argue whether like, oh, it's not pay to win if it's just if there's no PvP and stuff like that, but like, you know, the more you pay, like you can pay for power basically, right? But also like the same time, I think it kind of shows that like the developer appreciates the money that you put into the game, because the character stays relevant for a long time. I think that's why power creep is a problem. I should probably put that on the note for like when I'm talking about the power creep. Actually, because power creep can be a problem not only like, you know, not only in terms of like gameplay, like affecting people's gameplay, especially since I saw like the posting about all like on Twitter all about like the new like Honkai Star Rail like 3.2. I've heard a lot of people are planning to like to quit the game, like at least like the content creator. And like a lot of them are like, oh, but like, you know, power creep is not an issue on like a PvE game, and like, oh, like, and stuff like that. And I think like I think like people kind of, I don't know. I don't know if people are just being like disingenuous English, disingenuous, or like if people don't understand that like power creep also means that like your money, the money that you spend, the time that you spend on the game is being less appreciated, right? Because now that like now all those time that you spend on like grinding for the game, like, you know, we're not even talking about the money here, right? Like think about it, like if you spend like 3,000 or like 10,000 energy trying to like grind relics for your favorite character, like for like someone like Herta, or for example, or like someone like Acheron, right? And then in less than a year they're no longer relevant, right? I think that's a big problem, regardless of whether you spend money on it. Like even worse if you spend money on the character, right? Now that is not to say like, you know, there's also like the argument that like I've met this like there's like this streamer I've met recently that is like that like arguably is a Hoyo show. So like when I was talking, like when I was like in his chat and I was like talking with him, like he's definitely like more on the like Hoyo side, but like I think he's like more like reasonable, and he brings up some good points, I think. So he was saying like, okay, like so like obviously like some power creep is necessary, right? And like the power creep does like, you know, it is a problem right now, but like it's also a problem that is like necessary. I think like it's just like a hard thing to balance things out. But I think like when he brought up the point, like as long as like they brought back like enemies that like can make other characters like relevant again, I think like the game is still within like reasonable, like within reasonable level. Like for example, like I was complaining about like the reason in MOC, right? Like the Nikador. I don't know if you guys played Honkai Star Rail, but like there's this boss that is supposed to be like the titan of like war or something like that, like Nikador. And you have to specifically play with like his meta in order to win, whether it is like using a remembrance character or like using like erudition character, which is like AoE characters basically. And I think like, you know, a lot of people have been like showcasing like how they can like the new bosses is help, like, you know, people have been able to like beat the bosses with like someone like Jing Yan, for example, like, which is like have been like really weak in the meta for so long. And I feel like, okay, that's like a fair take, right? Like as long as like they're not like completely forgetting, like, you know, as long as they're not like moving on from the older character like completely, I think it should be, you know, it should be still like pretty reasonable, right? At the same time, not every character is like that, right? Some characters has been weak since like the beginning until now. Like characters like I don't know, characters that gets memed a lot, like someone like Blade, for example. Like, I don't know when Blade came out, but like it's probably been a while. But like Blade hasn't received that kind of love, and like that's the thing, right? Like the problem with that, like with his statement, I think, is that like he admitted himself, by the way. So like he I think he's pretty reasonable. He is that like he's like super positive about it. He like basically he put his trust on Hoyo, and he tries to look at things like in the positive way. And my problem is that with his take is that like that means like you have to trust Hoyo. You have to be in the same wavelength as what he's doing. You basically have to like hope that Hoyo does that. And I just don't. I always have apprehension about like completely putting my trust on the company, right? Especially a company with like bad track record. Like it's another thing. Like, for example, like, you know, if you're putting like your your fate on like someone like I don't know, like From Software, for example, like the creators of like Souls game, like Dark Souls and like Sekiro and like Elden Ring, like, you know, I think they have like a good enough track record that like people, like, I can see why people putting their fate on it. But like Hoyo games, they don't have like the best. They don't have like the best track record, so I don't know. I don't know if I can put that much trust on it. She's way too powerful. Like Castoris, Castoris. You mean? Like she can heal, global revive, buff, makes enemy weaker, and it's a main DPS. That's so annoying. I was stuck in there for a good while. I can see that. I was stuck in there for like 4 hours. I don't know. I think that was like a stream before you came, Wolf. But I played the Honkai Star. I tried the Honkai Star MOC purely with my old like lineups. So like I didn't follow the meta at all. Like no erudition characters, no remembrance characters. I came in completely like, you know, naked basically with like my old characters. I was it took me so long. And like someone came in and like he wasn't being an ass about it. But he was definitely defending Hoyo like in the chat, and he was like, "Well, I beat him with like an E0 like Acheron." But then he also went like, "Oh, but I also have like the remembrance MC." But they're free though, and I'm like, "Okay, I know they're free." But like my point in the point that I'm trying to make in the stream is that like you have to use a remembrance, like you have to follow the meta. It has to be erudition and or remembrance specifically. There's only one tactic to go through, like, you know, or like two tactic to like fight it, which is remembrance or erudition. Because otherwise you cannot win. Like literally you cannot win. Like the streamer that was like super positive about like the fight was like, well, no, I wouldn't say like you cannot win. Like you'll have like a really hard time to win. You have to like really min max if you're not gonna follow the meta. And I feel like that's like super limiting in some ways, because like that means like, oh, like, okay, because like if you like strangle like the player's freedom that much, I feel like I feel like it doesn't bode well, right? I cannot. How can I trust someone that's like literally like controlling the way I do things? Like it's like if you have like a like a nitpicking like manager, right? Like a manager that is like micromanaging you. Like it's like you know, sure they might be like micromanaging me because like you know they know more than me, but also like can you really like would you really have like full trust on them if like they constantly try to macromanage you? And I have adventure as my shield. I was still not able to beat them. Oh, I was able to, like barely, like barely. I was barely able to win. It was insane. It took me like a full, like for both sides, it took me a full 10 cycles to beat it without any like of the meta characters. And like my account is pretty stacked because like I'm using like Sparkle, Jiaochu, Aventurine, and Akron, right? And like my oh no Fushuan is my tank. So my Fushuan is C1, my Fushuan is E1, my Sparkle is E2, E1 or E2, I forgot. And I have like Akron on like E6. So like I'm with stacked. I was when I was like debating with like that Hoyo streamer, I was like, yeah, but like I feel like, you know, as someone that spent money on the game, right? I feel bad if like if my character basically like expires in like less than a year. It's not even like a year's old, like Akron. Because Akron came out at like what, 2.1? And like 2.1 is like when I was talking with him like a month or 2 months ago. So like it's not a year yet. But I'm like, this is not even like a year's old, like the character, but like I'm already like, you know. And you were also not able to beat. Oh, I managed to beat it. I beat it like exactly 10 cycles though. Like barely. Like if I'm even one cycle too late, I'm not getting like the 6 stars. So I was like, yeah, like you know, like imagine if you spend money and like you're and like the character that you spend money like on like just suddenly fucking useless. Because like obviously if someone is trying to E6 a character, right, right, I don't think they're doing it like to finish story, because like who the heck struggles on story missions, right? I think story quests are usually like made to be like super casual and everything like that. Or like usually like either that or like usually they would like lend you some like characters that you can borrow. I think like HSR does that like with the facial like the facial battle, for example, like you like during the story you can borrow facial base for example. Or they're like weakened in some ways. Like it's definitely different like between like fighting the actual boss in the full level or like in the end game mode or like story. I totally did not struggle in the story like 2 times. I think the story in like the story battles in HSR is definitely more challenging than like other games. But it's not it's reasonable challenge. I feel like. That's how I feel. Like it's definitely hard. It's definitely like not the easiest combat. Like for example, like I struggled with like the Aventurine battle, like during the 2.1. But also I just started playing the game back then, and like so I knew that like my build are like still all over the places. And that's why I'm struggling. It's not like the boss is like hard. Like if you find the right like the right character, or like you build them right. If you build your character right, like you can beat like almost all like, you know, the combat content and like the story. And like if you guys think about it, right, like Aventurine is like the worst boss for like No, actually, no. I wouldn't say it's the worst boss for Akron. I was going to say like because like the way like she does the dice, but like I forgot like he can like feel her ultimate just fine. I only had how many characters at the time. Oh, I ended up like I think I beat I forgot how did I beat him. I think I beat him before I got my E6. I think I got my E6 like around the end of the like Akron's banner. I think. So before that, I was still like, you know, not pay to win just yet. Okay, is everything done? Do I have enough Paul now? I really want Hunterella, god damn it. It's not enough. It's not enough. No. I really don't want to spend on this, not gonna lie. Like, I really don't want to spend these, but like, god damn it. I mean, only because I pulled characters I like, and that's fine, right? But like, you know, like when I was like debating with him, I was like, if you pull E6 for characters, right? It's usually because I want to put the character on this map. Yeah, sorry, I was interrupted by my parents, but like what I was going to say is like if you like a character, you don't need E6, right? Like people that pull E6 for a character, like most of the time, like I'm not talking about like, you know, I'm not talking about like someone like Tectone, for example, like which is like, you know, someone that is like rich and like, you know, does E6 because like because he likes a character. I think like that's like more of like a minority. I feel like this is just my take though. So like I feel like it's a minority for people to like go E6 because they like a character. I think most people go E6 on a character because the character is meta. I think if you like the character, most of the time you would just like pull them once because like you get the full experience with just the character, right? Like if you just like them. I'm not saying like if you know, I'm not saying if you're like a meta player or like, because like obviously the constellation locks behind the meta buffs, like upgrades and all the kinds like that, so technically you're not getting the full experience. But like if you just like the characters, then like getting E0 or like S0 or C0 is like the full experience. That it's everything that you need. Anything else is extra, like if you just like the characters. Yeah, like people would spend more usually because they think like, oh, the C6 is broken, or like, you know, they want to feel more powerful. And like people that spend money just because they like the character exists, but it's much more rare. Most people get an E6, most people get multiple constellation because they want the upgrades. And so like the faster the character expires, the more it feels like a punch in the gut for the people that spend money on the game, right? And if it's already a punch in the gut for people that spends money on the game, like what about the people that don't spend money on the game and have to struggle to build their characters? Like for example, like if I have like an S6 Gen Z, right? Like look at this, like right, for example, if I like my Gen Z is like fully built right now, like right? Let me resize the Nikki, but like you can see right now my Jinxie is fully built, right? Like she's using, I think she's using like 2 Spectro, and that's why like her attack is kind of low. Like yeah, like 2 Spectro damage, and that's why like her attack is super low. If you see here, where is it? Spectro damage, yeah, 82%. And this is because I follow the meta. Like this is because I spend time on a character and also spend like money on the constellation. And like the problem is that like for people that doesn't spend money, they're gonna have to grind this. Like they have no other option. The only option to become powerful for people that doesn't spend money on the game is to get get lucky. So you're gambling either way. And like imagine if like you're working so hard for this like echoes or like relics that like, you know, depending on your luck, can take anywhere from like days to like months to build. And then the character suddenly just expires, like no longer on meta. Haha. She's now, you know, it's like she's now like, imagine if Jinsei suddenly, you know, gets a kick in the butt, and like now she's like the blade of like the blade of like HSR, and like she doesn't do shit to like any of the enemies in the game. Like I as someone that like spends money on it, obviously I would feel like I would feel that my money is like wasted then, because I'm getting S6 because I want, like, you know, because I like her playstyle and I enjoy the upgrades that the constellation gives. And like, what about the people that works hard on like making their Jin COP? Then like that means like their effort is also worthless. So I think when people say like, oh, power creep doesn't matter on the PvE game, I think they're like underestimating the price of their own like effort and investment in general. And like some people are like, oh, but like I don't spend any money on the game, like, you know, I'm just playing for the story and the characters. You know, I don't care about meta and stuff like that. Think about it. All the like the majority of your Primogem income, or like your premium currency income, right? Like they come from the end game. Like regardless whether you like the meta or not, if you cannot finish the end game, you're not getting like at least like half of like what you're supposed to be getting, like the currencies. Like imagine like, say for example, like TOA, I think like the hazard tower, like the tower of adversity, right, has like 600 700 astride, for example, like for every month, right? I think 600 or 700 maybe, I forgot. Let me check real quick. I see some of them are happy. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever, because like, why do you value yourself so little, right? 3, 6, 9, 10. Okay, so 8 times this, 4 times 150, 600, 700. So 700, right? So you get 700 from this, and then from Wiwa you get like another 700 or like 800 or something. So like it's around like 1.5 thousands, right? And like they were literally saying, oh, we're playing for the characters, like we're playing for the story and the characters. Well, guess what, you literally cannot, like, you literally get to enjoy like half of the things that you want to enjoy less by not engaging with like the end game, right? Because like if you're someone that doesn't spend money, if you're someone that doesn't spend money on the game, then every premium currency counts. So you have to engage with the game as much as possible. And like if the game is imbalanced, and if the game has like so much power creep, that means like they're gonna like, you're basically like running with like someone whipping you in the ass every time. Because like even if you're not following even if you're not following the meta, you still have to grind for the characters. And the more characters they have in the game that you like, the more you have to follow them, like the grind. So the content creators want people to game plus they can influence the game to get improved. Yeah. I like think like these people are so dumb, because like think about it. These people make a living out of playing these games, and they're quitting. And you're happy about it? What the hell? Like these people can make thousands or like tens of thousands of dollars just from playing the game and talking to you guys while playing the game, and they're quitting the game. That That should tell you how bad the game is, like the current state of the game is. Exactly, so insane. Yeah. I should also finish like the Nikkei stuff. Actually, I should probably like mark this like part of like the stream, because like I feel like this is a good like content discussion. I should definitely like start like marking the recording and then uploading the VODs. Man, I really wish I have like a stream editor or something like that, because everything every time I think about like trying to like upload on YouTube and like trying to like cut off like the parts and like doing all these editings on top of like working, and I'm like, man, do I really want to? Yes, you should. I don't have the money. Well, no. Let me rephrase this. I don't want to spend the money. Someone to cut and all. Well, here's the thing, right? I feel like I want like uploading the whole VODs is an okay thing, but like I feel like I want to do like what Asmongold did. Like for example, like Asmongold would like have someone like one of his head editor. I don't know if he has more than one, but I want like his editor to like cut off like every topic to make it more like a shorter like version of the videos, basically. And I can do it technically. I you know, I have some basic knowledge in like video editing. I mean, I've did it before, like I said, but like if I think about it, like actually doing that along with like I feel like if I do that, I would have like I barely have any spare time as it is, because like my time to play games is like whenever it's just time that you need. Yeah, because I don't have much spare times. Like these kind of hours is like the only time like I can like actually like play games like comfortably, like peacefully, right? So if I use these times to like edit, like when will I actually have the time to like actually like rest up and like enjoy myself and like play games that I want to play, like the single player games, for example? Because like, so yeah, I should probably have one of my friends does that, because like I think one of my friends did used to make like a clips and stuff. Let me finish the Nikkei thingy. Ooh, okay. Oh man,
there you are.
shitty luck. Shitty luck all around. But yeah, I think personally like the whole power creep thing, I think people should be more concerned about it than like what they initially talk. Like sure, like again, like I had some talk with like I had a debate with like the Hoyo, and like I can see some of his point, but I think people should be more wary, and like, you know, I think people shouldn't go to too extreme on both ends, right? I don't think people should like fully hate the game because like in its current state right now, because like the problem is that like all this like content creator that is like quitting the game, they don't like the game because of like the potential that can like, you know, of the potential disaster that could happen, right? They don't like the direction of the game. At the same time, it's only it's still a direction right now. It's not a fully realized like disaster just yet, right? It's like when you if I had to put an example, it's like during 2012 they had like this whole like about like, oh, 2012 will be like the end of like the end of humanity and like the end of the world and stuff like that, and like it's okay to be cautious about it, but like you don't have to go in full crazy about it, because like it's not even happening just yet, right?
Oh, there you are. Who's a good boy?
And I think that's what like people should like, that's what people should do. They shouldn't glaze the game, because the game is not going in a good direction. Like, you know, at the same time, you shouldn't be hating the game too much, because in its current state, it's technically not the worst. It's just going in that direction. And that's pretty much my take on it.